My shoulders ache as I push open our front door, the familiar strain of an 8-hour shift at the bookstore settling into my muscles. The moment I step inside, something in the air changes. The living room feels charged, heavy with an atmosphere I've learned to recognize since childhood. My mother stands in the center of the room, arms crossed, and my stomach drops before she even opens her mouth. "There you are." Her voice carries that razor edge I know too well. Jessica perches on the edge of the couch, lower lip trembling in a performance I've seen 1,000 times before. On the coffee table between them lies a crisp white letter, university letterhead clearly visible even from where I stand. My eyes catch fragments of words, academic dishonesty, and immediate expulsion. "This is your fault." Mom's voice cracks through the air like a whip. "You put too much pressure on Jessica. She had no choice but to cheat." I grip the doorframe, my mind struggling to process the absurdity of the accusation. Jessica, perfect Jessica, has been caught cheating on her finals. And somehow, standing in our dimly lit living room, I'm being blamed for it. "You're always showing off how perfect you are," Jessica chimes in, her voice wobbling. "I just wanted to be as good as you." The words hit me like a physical blow. My brain spins backward through time. 8-year-old me in the principal's office, Mom's fingers digging into my wrist as she blamed me for Jessica's stolen lunch money. The security footage later proved Jessica took it herself, but the apology never came. Christmas morning after Christmas morning, Jessica unwrapping designer handbags while I received secondhand coats with price tags still attached. "Jessica deserves nice things," Mom would say. "You don't need to be spoiled." Senior year floods back. 2 part-time jobs, saving every penny for a car, only for Mom to demand the money for Jessica's new laptop. Always Jessica, always my fault, always my sacrifice. Mom's nails dig into my arm now, dragging me back to the present. "This family has done everything for you, and this is how you repay us? You make Jessica feel like she'll never be good enough?" Something shifts inside me. 23 years of bending, breaking, accepting, and suddenly, I can't do it anymore. I pull my arm free, lifting my chin to meet her gaze. "I had nothing to do with this," I say, my voice shaking but firm. "Jessica cheated. That's on her." The silence that follows feels like the moment before a storm breaks. Mom's face contorts with fury as she snatches up the expulsion letter, thrusting it in my face. "You ungrateful brat!" The paper crumples in her grip. "You're the reason this family is falling apart." The words crack something inside me, something fundamental and irreparable. I look at my mother, really look at her, and for the first time, I see the truth. She doesn't see me as a daughter. I'm just a convenient scapegoat, a receptacle for every failure, every disappointment, every flaw she can't bear to acknowledge in her golden child. My eyes drift to Jessica. She watches in silence, not apologizing, not even pretending to be grateful for Mom's defense. Instead, there's an almost smug satisfaction in her expression. She knows she'll walk away from this unscathed, just like always. The weight of years presses down on my shoulders, heavier than any bookstore shift. If I stay, this will be my entire life. Always sacrificing, always invisible, always wrong. My gaze falls on the front door, just a few feet away. It's still open from when I walked in, showing a slice of the darkening sky beyond. That door represents everything I've never had. Freedom, uncertainty, the chance to live for myself. "What?" Mom scoffs, following my gaze. "You're leaving? You have nowhere to go. You'll be back in a week, begging for my help." I don't respond. Instead, I turn and walk to my bedroom, the smallest in the house, barely furnished. My hands move on autopilot, stuffing a duffel bag with essentials, a few changes of clothes, a worn notebook, the $60 in cash I've managed to hide from Mom's borrowing. Before I leave, my eyes catch on a photo frame. Me as a child, smiling, before I understood what this house would become. I take it with me. The night air hits my face as I step outside. It's cold, but somehow lighter than any breath I've taken in that house. Behind me, Mom's voice carries across the yard. Go ahead. Don't come crying to me when the world chews you up. I don't look back. If you were me, would you have left, even if you had nowhere to go? Mom's words chase me down the empty street. Asterisk. You'll come crawling back. You have nothing. No one. Asterisk. The night air wraps around me like a cold sheet, and my fingers clench tighter around the strap of my duffel bag. $60. A change of clothes. A photo I should have left behind. The weight of what I've done crashes over me in waves, each step carrying me further from everything I've ever known. The neighborhood stretches endless and dark ahead of me. Porch lights flicker on one by one, families settling in for dinner, for movie nights, for all the normal things that happen in normal homes. My chest tightens. Where do you go when home stops being home? I walk until my feet ache, until the residential streets give way to commercial districts. The hum of distant traffic mixes with the chirp of crickets, and still I walk. Pride keeps me from pulling out my phone, from scrolling through the short list of contacts who might let me crash on their couch. I'm not going to prove Mom right. Not tonight. 2 hours in, exhaustion hits like a physical blow. My shoulders slump as I spot the glowing sign of the 24-hour train station. Not safe, exactly, but shelter. Better than nothing. The fluorescent lights inside cast everything in a sickly yellow glow. A handful of people occupy the hard plastic seats, a woman clutching a garbage bag full of what looks like clothes. A man in a business suit passed out across 3 seats, someone muttering to themselves in the corner. I choose a spot near the vending machines, as far as possible from the muttering man. The tile floor sends cold seeping into my bones the moment I sit. My stomach growls, reminding me I haven't eaten since breakfast, but I keep the $60 tucked deep in my pocket. Who knows when I'll see money again? Sleep proves impossible. Every shuffling footstep jolts me awake. Every announcement over the crackling PA system sends my heart racing. The vending machines hum, an endless drone that sets my teeth on edge. By the time dawn creeps in through the grimy windows, my throat feels like sandpaper, and my head pounds with the kind of exhaustion that makes the world tilt sideways. A new wave of commuters flows in, their fresh clothes and coffee cups a stark reminder of how far I've fallen in just 12 hours. I catch my reflection in a window-wrinkled shirt, tangled hair, the kind of hollow-eyed look I used to see in homeless people, and think, how did they end up there? Asterisk. Now I know. One bad night. One moment of standing up for yourself. One realization that the devil you know is worse than the devil you don't. A single tear slips down my cheek before I can stop it. I swipe it away hard enough to leave my skin stinging. Crying won't help. Nothing will help except getting up, finding work, surviving. I force myself to my feet, muscles protesting after hours on the cold floor. If I don't find a job today, I won't make it through another night like this. The thought should terrify me, but instead, it settles in my chest like steel. I've spent 23 years surviving Margaret Sullivan's house. I'm not about to let the real world break me now. The morning passes in a blur of rejection. Every storefront, every help-wanted sign leads to the same response. We're not hiring. The fast food manager barely glances up from his phone, dismissing me with a wave. By noon, my legs shake with each step, and the gnawing in my stomach has turned to a constant ache. Then I spot Ida's small diner tucked between a laundromat and a pawn shop. The neon sign flickers weakly. Lopez's Home Cooking. Through the window, I watch a woman with steel gray hair tied back in a tight bun directing staff with sharp gestures. The bell chimes as I push open the door. The woman Marianne Lopez, according to her name tag, looks me up and down, taking in my wrinkled clothes and desperate expression. Ever washed dishes before? She asks, no preamble. I can learn. The kitchen air hits like a wall of heat. Grease coats every surface, and the mountain of dishes seems endless. By closing time, my fingers are raw and pruned, my back screaming. But when Marianne hands me $40 in cash, it feels like more than money. It feels like survival. That night, curled up in the same train station corner, I allow myself to check my college fund account at the ATM across the street. The account I've been saving since I was 14, working every summer job, every holiday shift. If there's anything left, maybe I could still balance. $0. My hands shake as I navigate through the transaction history. Multiple withdrawals, all under Margaret Sullivan's name. Designer clothes, concert tickets, private tutors for Jessica. The screen blurs as tears well up. She didn't just kick me out, she made sure I couldn't leave on my own terms. Made sure I'd have nothing. But something shifts in my chest, something harder than despair. If Margaret Sullivan could steal my future, I'll build a new one. Without her. Without any of them. Need more hours? Marianne asked the next morning, watching me scrub pots with mechanical precision. Yes. My friend owns a coffee shop. She needs help. You want in? I pause, sponge dripping suds onto my shoes. 2 jobs means twice the escape velocity. When can I start? The coffee shop is different customers instead of dishes, lattes instead of grease. My first real paycheck feels like victory, small but mine. Every dollar is a brick in the wall between me and Margaret Sullivan's voice in my head. Then I see it checking my remaining account balance at the end of the month. A transaction made in my name weeks after I left. Margaret Sullivan, still pulling strings, still using my identity like it belongs to her. I should be angry, should report it. But something colder takes root instead. Let her think she's won. Let her keep digging her own grave. One day, when I'm ready, all her fraud will come back to haunt her. And this time, I'll be the one watching her fall. My hands shake as I count out $1 bills on my threadbare mattress. 23, 24, 25. The bills are wrinkled and stained from 12-hour days split between Bean and Brew and Lopez Diner. I stuff them into a worn envelope, already knowing it's not enough for rent. The alarm on my phone blares at 4:15 a.m. Another day, another shift. I drag myself up, muscles screaming from yesterday's double. The mirror shows dark circles under my eyes that no amount of concealer can hide. But pride means nothing when you're one missed paycheck away from sleeping in your car. At Bean and Brew, I've mastered the art of becoming invisible. Head down, movements efficient, voice pleasant but forgettable. Until I'm not. Seriously? A woman in a cream-colored blazer sneers as I fumble her complicated drink order. Why do they even hire people who can't do their job properly? My cheeks burn, but I keep my expression neutral as I remake her drink. Inside, rage bubbles up like scalding milk in the steamer. I want to tell her about my cramping fingers from 8 hours of dishwashing yesterday. About choosing between dinner and bus fare. I said, sugar-free vanilla, she snaps, pushing the drink back across the counter. I remake it again, and again, and again. That night, I collapse onto my bed without bothering to change. The springs dig into my back through the thin mattress, but I'm too exhausted to care. As I turn my head, a familiar scent catches my attention, soft, soothing lavender. My eyes find the source, an old handmade candle tucked in the corner of my duffel bag, one of the few things I grabbed when I left. The scent pulls me back 12 years. Mom's kitchen, but on a rare day when she and Jessica were out. Me, carefully melting wax in an old pot, pouring it into mismatched jars from the recycling bin. The pure satisfaction of creating something beautiful from nothing. I sit up slowly, mind racing. My laptop is already open to my checking account, $212.47. Just enough for supplies. If it doesn't work, my finger hovers over the place order button. In my head, Mom's voice sneers, asterisk. You'll fail. You always do. Asterisk. I click. 3 days later, my tiny apartment fills with the warm scent of melting wax. I measure temperatures obsessively, test fragrances, adjust ratios. Each candle takes shape under my hand-simple mason jars, filled with carefully layered colors and scents that remind me of comfort, of home. Not the home I had, but the one I always wanted. The Etsy shop setup takes hours. I photograph each candle under the harsh fluorescent bathroom light, trying to make them look professional. The descriptions flow easier words about warmth, comfort, peace, things I'm still learning to find. Days pass. No sales. I refresh the page between customers at Bean and Brew during my breaks at the diner, before falling asleep at night. Nothing. The voice in my head that sounds like mom grows louder. What made you think anyone would want this? Asterisk? Thena notification. 1 candle. $12. I stare at the order confirmation until my vision blurs. It's barely enough to cover shipping, but it's something. It's proof. The validation lasts exactly 8 days. Then the reviews start. Poor quality. Arrived broken. Smells like chemicals. Worst purchase ever. Don't waste your money. Amateur hour. Get a real job. My stomach turns to ice as I read the usernames. Margaret's 1962. Jessica Love's 2 Shop. They found me. Later that night, I discover a Reddit thread. Jessica's username is unmistakable, mocking my pathetic little candle shop and reminding everyone that some people should know their place. The rage that fills me isn't hot like before. It's cold, crystalline. For the first time, I see the truth with perfect clarity. They don't just want me to stay down. They want to make sure I never get up. You look like you're plotting murder. I snap my head up from my phone to find Riley, my Bean and Brew coworker, watching me with concern. She's wiping down the counter after closing, her blue hair falling in her face. I'm fine, I say automatically. Yeah, and I'm the Queen of England. Riley leans against the counter. Spill. I hesitate, but something in her expression genuinely concerned rakes through my walls. The whole story spills out. The candles, the reviews, the sabotage. Instead of the pity I expect, Riley's eyes light up. Dude, you need to get on TikTok. Let me help. I'm good at this stuff. Before I can protest, she's pulling out her phone, arranging my sample candles on the clean counter. The light catches the glass, making the colors shimmer. Small businesses deserve support, she narrates, filming. Let's get this girl some orders. I watch her post it, certain nothing will come of it. Another dead end, another failure. I've never been more wrong. The next morning, my phone won't stop buzzing. 10,000 views, 20,000 views, 50,000 views. Orders flood my inbox. 50, 100, 200. Numbers I never dared to dream about. Then, buried in the avalanche of notifications, an email that makes my heart stop. From Brand Partnerships, Lux Aroma. Subject: Partnership, Opportunity. We love your work. Would you be interested in discussing a potential collaboration? Asterisk. My fingers hover over the keyboard as that old, familiar fear creeps in. What if Mom finds out? What if Jessica tries to take this away too? But something has changed. The voice in my head that sounds like Mom isn't the loudest anymore. My voice is. I click reply. The scent of lavender and sage fills my tiny home studio as I pour another batch of candles. My hands move with practiced precision, measuring and mixing while order notifications ping on my phone. 300 units to ship by Friday. 2 wholesale accounts pending approval. 1 brand collaboration meeting next week. I pause, letting the familiar piece of creation wash over me. Just 6 months ago, I was slinging lattes at Bean and Brew, my fingers perpetually sticky with caramel syrup. Now my hands smell of essential oils and success. Today's my last day. I had told my manager, handing over my apron. She'd hugged me tight, whispering, "Go get him," in my ear. That moment felt like stepping off a cliff, terrifying and exhilarating all at once. But my online orders had finally overtaken my cafe wages. It was time. Celine? Riley pokes her head through the studio doorway, waving her phone. You might want to see this. My stomach tightens at her tone. She hands me her phone, open to a local news article. The headline hits like a punch to the gut. Local family faces foreclosure after years of financial mismanagement. There's my childhood home in the grainy photo, the peeling yellow paint even more obvious in newsprint. The article mentions Margaret Sullivan by name, my mother, and details how she's 3 months behind on mortgage payments. My eyes catch on a quote from a neighbor. It's sad to see. That house used to be so well maintained, but ever since her older daughter left. I hand the phone back to Riley, my hands steady. I need to finish these orders. There's more. Riley's voice softens. Jessica dropped out, failed most of her classes last semester. The loans came due and she trails off, watching me carefully. I turn back to my work table, checking the temperature of my wax. Not my problem. But that night, as I'm packaging the last orders, my phone buzzes. Unknown number, but I recognize the area code. Home. My mother's voice crackles through the speaker before I can decline. Celine, honey. The familiar manipulation oozes through her words, but something's different. A tremor. Uncertainty. I miss you. Family should stick together. Your sister is struggling. We all are. We need you. I let the silence stretch, feeling the weight of 2 decades of guilt and obligation press against my chest. But it doesn't crush me anymore. I end the call without speaking. The texts from Jessica start flowing immediately. I know I was a bad sister. I was just jealous. You were always so much better than me. Please, Celine, I have nowhere else to go. I block both numbers and return to my work. The wax melts, the orders ship. My business grows. 3 days later, Riley bursts into the studio again. It's gone viral. She shows me a social media post from Mrs. Chen, our old next-door neighbor, the one who used to slip me extra cookies when I helped her with her garden, the one who saw everything. I watched that girl get blamed for things she didn't do her whole life, the post reads. Celine Sullivan was treated like a maid while Jessica Sullivan was worshipped. Now that Celine has a successful business, suddenly they miss her? Where was that love when she was working 3 jobs to survive? The comment section explodes with support. Old classmates emerge with their own stories. The truth about Jessica's academic cheating scandal resurfaces. Someone mentions how she used to steal other students' work. A former teacher confirms it. I watch it all unfold, with a strange detachment. The empire of lies my mother built around her golden child crumbles. Post by post, share by share, Jessica's name becomes toxic in professional circles. No one will hire her now. The next time my mother calls, she uses Jessica's phone to bypass the block. Her voice shakes. No superiority, no arrogance, just raw desperation. Please, she whispers, we have nothing left. Jessica's call comes an hour later, her words stumbling between sobs. I have nothing left. I was horrible to you, I know, but please, help me. I stand in my studio, surrounded by the business I built from nothing. The fresh batch of candles cools on the rack, their surfaces smooth and perfect. Orders wait to be shipped to customers who value my work. My bank account holds more money than my mother ever borrowed from me. The power has shifted. They know it. I know it. I pick up a candle, examining its flawless surface. For years, they controlled every aspect of my life. Now they need me to survive. The irony would be sweet if I could still taste it. But standing here, in the life I've built for myself, I realize I feel nothing for them at all. No anger, no satisfaction, no love. The bell above my shop door chimes. I look up to see 2 familiar figures step inside, my mother and Jessica, shadows of their former selves. Their designer clothes are gone, replaced by worn department store clearance. The makeup can't hide their exhaustion. My mother's eyes dart around the studio, calculating the value of everything she sees. Even now, she's looking for something to take. Celine, baby? Her voice drips with false sweetness. I know we've had our differences, but you're successful now. You can afford to help your family, right? Jessica steps forward, her hands twisting together. I'll do anything, please. I'll work for you. Just don't let me end up like this. I look at them. Really look at them. The women who made my childhood a prison. The mother who stole my future to fund her favorite daughter's failures. The sister who watched me break and smiled. They wait for my response. Desperate hope painted across their faces. They expect the old Celine, the one who would sacrifice everything to earn a scrap of their approval. But that Celine is gone. In her place stands a woman who built herself from the ashes they left behind. The candle in my hands has cooled completely now. I set it aside with the others, ready for shipping to someone who will appreciate its worth. No, I say simply, and turn back to my work. The clicking of my heels against polished marble echoes through the lobby as I approach my office. Through the glass walls, I spot them before they see me, Mom and Jessica, looking small and displaced among the sleek furniture and modern art pieces I've carefully selected. The expensive furnishings reflect the life they never imagined I'd have. Abstract paintings worth more than our old house, ergonomic chairs that cost more than Jessica's last semester of college, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking a city that finally belongs to me. Jessica perches on the edge of a leather chair, her designer clothes from better days now wrinkled and worn. Her hollow cheeks and bitten nails tell a story of sleepless nights and mounting debts. Mom stands rigid beside her, hands clasped in a pose I recognize from countless parent-teacher conference-issuer concerned mother act. My stomach doesn't drop anymore when I see them. That's new. Celine, sweetheart. Mom's voice breaks as she spots me, tears welling up right on cue. Her hands tremble as she reaches toward me, a masterful performance of motherly remorse. We've made mistakes, I see that now, but we're still family. I let the silence stretch, watching as Jessica's fingers twist in her lap. She looks thinner now, her once perfect makeup slightly smudged, the designer bag at her feet a knockoff of last season's style. The golden child tarnished at last. Family helps each other, right? Jessica's voice wavers, but I catch the familiar manipulative undertone. She leans forward, desperation crackling beneath her practiced vulnerability. After everything, you wouldn't just abandon us, would you? The irony almost makes me laugh. Instead, I cross my arms, tilt my head, and ask the question that's been burning in my throat for years. Oh, but when I needed help, where were you? Mom flinches, as if I'd slapped her. Good. When I worked 2 jobs and still had to give Jessica my savings, where were you? Each word drops like ice into the pristine quiet of my lobby. When I had nowhere to sleep but a train station, where were you? When you stole my college fund? When you laughed as I struggled, where were you? We didn't know, Mom stammers, her performance cracking. The perfectly curated tears dry up as reality sets in. We thought you'd be fine on your own. A cold smile curves my lips. Well, you were right. I was fine. I am fine. And I did it without you. Jessica's face crumples, reality finally piercing her bubble of privilege. No education after the cheating scandal, no career prospects, no safety net. The golden child finally facing consequences. The truth of her situation reflects in the windows surrounding us is nothing now, and she knows it. I was a kid, Jessica's voice cracks. I didn't know any better. And now you're an adult, facing the consequences of your actions. I meet her gaze steadily. Welcome to the real world, Jessica. I reach into my desk drawer, pull out 2 bus tickets. They're one-way tickets back to our old town, the place Mom swore she'd never return to, where the streets are too narrow and the dreams too small. I lay them on the glass coffee table with precise movements. I won't leave you with nothing. Here's a way home. Take it or leave it. Jessica snatches up one ticket, rips it in half. Her hands shake with the same entitled rage that once made me feel so small. You think this is funny? You think you're better than us? No, Jessica. I straighten my blazer, smooth imaginary wrinkles. I know I'm better than you. Mom stares at the torn pieces of paper scattered across my pristine floor. She doesn't argue anymore, doesn't plead. She knows this is over. The city hums beyond my windows, a rhythm of success she'll never be part of. I take one last look at them, the mother who never saw me, the sister who never earned her crown. Years ago, their judgment could shatter me. Now, they look small, insignificant. Just 2 more failed attempts at manipulation in my carefully constructed world. I built this life without you, I say, turning toward my office. I think I'll keep living it without you. My heels click against marble again as I walk away. Behind me, I hear Jessica's ragged breathing, Mom's stifled sob. The sound of their desperation fades with each step. I don't look back. I've spent enough of my life looking back. Morning light streams through my floor-to-ceiling windows, casting long shadows across the bamboo floors of my apartment. I breathe in the rich aroma of freshly ground coffee beans, letting the quiet settle around me like a familiar blanket. No tension, no walking on eggshells, just peace. My phone buzzes with a notification. Another 5-star review for Lunar Lux candles. I scroll through the comments, a smile tugging at my lips as I read about how our signature scents have transformed people's faces. 3 years ago, I was mixing essential oils in my cramped studio apartment, praying I could sell enough to make rent. Now I have 15 employees, a warehouse in Brooklyn, and more orders than we can handle. I pause at my bedroom mirror, taking in my reflection. The dark circles that once haunted my eyes have faded. My shoulders no longer hunch with the weight of constant criticism. I look free. The drive to my old neighborhood feels surreal. Each familiar turn stirs memories I've long since buried, but they no longer have the power to wound. When I round the final corner, I almost don't recognize the house. The pristine lawn Margaret took such pride in has grown wild and unkempt. Paint peels from the shutters like dead skin, and a crooked for sale sign swings in the autumn breeze. I park across the street, studying the abandoned shell of my childhood prison. No cars in the driveway, no lights in the windows, just empty rooms holding the ghosts of arguments long past. Through a broken window, I can see the living room where I last stood my ground, the spot where I finally said no. A strange laugh bubbles up in my throat, not bitter, not haunted, just surprised. This place that once seemed so massive, so suffocating, now looks small and insignificant. Like a set from a play I no longer have to perform in. The community center downtown buzzes with afternoon energy as I push through the glass doors. In the main room, a group of young women gather around tables, some taking notes, others sharing stories. My mentorship program started small, just me and 2 others who'd escaped similar situations. Now we have 30 regular attendees. Maya sits in her usual corner, dark hair falling forward to hide her face. At 16, she reminds me so much of myself it aches. Her parents kicked her out last month for refusing to give up art school for the accounting degree they'd chosen. Now she crashes on friends' couches, working part-time at a diner, clinging to her dreams with both hands. How do you stop being afraid they'll come back? She asks when I sit beside her. Her voice trembles, but her eyes hold steady. That they'll find a way to hurt you again? I take her hand, feeling the slight tremor in her fingers. You don't have to stop being afraid. I tell her the truth I wish someone had given me. You just have to stop letting the fear control you. Walking through the center after our session ends, I think about the fundamental difference between us. Margaret spent her life tearing people down. Jessica took everything she could get, but I chose another way. Every time I help someone stand taller, every time I share what I've learned about survival and success, I feel a pride Margaret never knew, the kind that comes from lifting others up instead of crushing them. Later, standing on my balcony with the city lights spread out below me, I think about Margaret and Jessica, about the patterns they're still trapped in, the cycles they'll never break. I chose a different path. Every young woman I help find her strength. Every candle we ship with a handwritten note of encouragement. Every moment I choose kindness over bitterness. It's another step further from becoming them. The night air carries the faint scent of autumn, crisp and full of possibility. I whisper words I've finally come to believe. Some revenge doesn't require action, just success. I take a deep breath and let the past fade into the darkness below, where it belongs.
I check my phone while my cursor hovers over the complete purchase button for the French villa I've been eyeing for months. The screen lights up with a text from Mom, and my stomach clenches before I even read it. We're keeping Thanksgiving small with Elliot's family this year. Hope you're okay sitting this one out. My hand freezes midair. The familiar sting of exclusion burns through my chest, but it's duller now, expected. This marks the 3rd family gathering I've been uninvited to this year. The pattern is so predictable I could set my watch by it. I stare at the villa listing on my laptop screen, stone walls bathed in Provençal sunlight, a long wooden table on the terrace perfect for gatherings. For a moment, doubt creeps in. Who would I even invite to fill those chairs? Then something shifts inside me. I press complete purchase with a decisive click, watching as my life savings transforms into something tangible, something mine. I type a single word response to Mom's text. Noted. The phone drops onto the couch beside me, and I feel lighter somehow, freer. Last Christmas flashes through my mind, standing in Mom's kitchen, champagne in hand, trying to share news of my promotion to vice president. "That's nice, honey," Mom had said, patting my arm before rushing off to comfort Elliot, who'd just announced his company was going through layoffs. Again. My celebration dinner became a strategy session for my brother's career revival. "You're so independent, Leona. Elliot needs our support more." How many times had I heard that refrain? So many, it had become the background music of my childhood. The Georgetown MBA graduation, where they left halfway through the ceremony because Elliot had called with an apartment crisis. The school plays they missed because my brother needed help with college applications. The carefully cultivated self-sufficiency they now used as evidence that I didn't need them. I pick up my phone again, but instead of responding to Mom with my usual "I understand" or "maybe next time," I scroll to Aunt Carol's number. My father's sister, a retired civil rights lawyer, who never minced words about anything, especially family. "Leona," she answers on the second ring. What a lovely surprise. "Hi, Aunt Carol." My voice comes out steady, surprising me. I've been excluded from Thanksgiving. Again. No apologetic tone, no qualifying statements. Just facts. "And what are you going to do about it this time?" she asks, a challenge in her voice. I look at the confirmation email for my villa purchase. Something different. I remember when I was 26, watching my parents co-sign Elliot's third business loan after telling me to be practical when I wanted to start my own company. I'd shelved my dreams and climbed the corporate ladder instead, building the kind of resume that would finally make them proud. 8 years of calculated moves, of swallowed disappointments, of building a life designed to earn their approval. And what did I have to show for it? A seat at their table only when convenient, love that felt conditional, and a growing emptiness that all my achievements couldn't fill. I bought a villa in Provence today. I tell Aunt Carol. I'm hosting my own Thanksgiving. The silence stretches between us, and I prepare for the gentle lecture about burning bridges and family obligations. Instead, she laughs a warm, delighted sound. It's about time. I feel something crack inside me, the first fissure in the wall I've built around my heart. I'm risking what remains of my already fragile family ties. But as I picture that long table in France, I realize something I've been avoiding for years. I've been building my life for external validation that will never come. Would you like to come? I ask. The question both terrifying and liberating. Wild horses couldn't keep me away, Aunt Carol replies. For the first time in years, I feel the possibility of something new taking root, a family of my own making, a table where everyone is truly welcome. I empty my closet onto the bed, sorting clothes into piles for my impromptu French escape. The practical side of my brain warns this is impulsive, but something deeper keeps me moving forward. Behind a stack of winter sweaters, I spot the forgotten leather photo albums Mom insisted I take when she decluttered last year. "You always were the sentimental one," she'd said, as if preserving family memories was some peculiar hobby rather than basic human instinct. I flip open the first album, and my chest tightens. Elliot's third birthday party, balloons, presents, and both parents beaming at him. Then my third birthday, captured in just 2 photos. Me blowing out candles alone, Mom visible only as a blurred arm reaching to help Elliot with something off camera. Album after album tells the same story. My high school graduation. One distant shot where I'm barely visible among classmates. Elliot's an entire page, including close-ups with extended family. Without thinking, I reach for my laptop and open a spreadsheet titled Family Events Log. My therapist had suggested it 6 months ago when I mentioned feeling overlooked. Document it objectively, she'd said. Patterns become clearer when we see them in black and white. The spreadsheet is meticulous. Dates, events, who attended, notable interactions. The data doesn't lie. 78% of my significant life events included early parental departures or complete absences. Elliot's attendance rate, 97%. Something physical shifts inside me like a belt I've worn too tight suddenly loosening. My chest expands with a full breath, perhaps my first in years. The real cost wasn't just missed birthdays or graduations. It was the authentic connections I'd sacrificed while chasing parental approval that would never materialize. I'd turned down international assignments, limited dating to men my parents would approve of, chosen stability over my own entrepreneurial dreams, all to remain available for family gatherings where I was, at best, an afterthought. I shut the laptop and turned to my phone. My desk looks different somehow as I sit down to make calls. I've flipped the family photos face down, replacing their accusatory gazes with travel guides to Provence, spread open like promises. With each call, my voice grows stronger. My cousins Mark and Jennifer, Dad's brother's children who've always treated me as an equal, rearranged their plans instantly. We were dreading another political argument with Uncle Ted anyway. Jennifer laughs. France sounds infinitely better. My colleague Talia squeals with delight. Provence in fall? Absolutely yes. By evening, 7 people have enthusiastically accepted. I study the villa photos again, this time calculating risks rather than just dreaming. The purchase represents my entire savings outside retirement accounts money I'd been hoarding for some undefined future emergency. What if the gathering proves my worst fear? That I've alienated my birth family only to discover my chosen one is equally tenuous. Professionally, I'm risking the momentum of our biggest product launch. Taking 2 weeks off now means stepping back during a critical phase, potentially signaling to leadership that I'm not serious about advancement. But the most gnawing fear is simpler. What if I'm overreacting? What if this dramatic gesture burns bridges that, despite their structural flaws, I'll regret losing? I check my work email one last time before bed, finding a message from my boss, Richard, responding to my time-off request. Approved. The team can handle things. Reminds me of when I finally stopped attending my stepfather's fishing trips after years of being the designated bait boy while my brothers got to actually fish. Sometimes the healthiest family choice is distance. Bring me back some good wine. The small validation warms. The magnitude of what I'm doing hits me fully. I'm choosing myself perhaps for the first time, yet I am still insecure and wonder if I'm making the right choice. Should I create a new tradition with people who valued me, or make one last attempt to fit into the family I was born into? What would you do when the people who should love you most consistently make you feel least important? 3 days later, my phone buzzes for the 5th time today. Mom again. The screen lights up with a photo of Elliot's 6-year-old twins wearing pilgrim hats. The kids keep asking when Aunt Leona is coming. They miss you terribly. I set my phone down beside the half-packed suitcase on my bed. The manipulation is so transparent now that I've started looking for it. 3 days of this daily text about how much everyone misses me, as if I'd declined their invitation rather than been excluded from it. The landline rings, my father's preferred method of communication. I almost let it go to voicemail, but something pulls me toward it. Leona. His voice carries that familiar note of disapproval. Your mother and I are concerned about this trip of yours. Are you? I fold a sweater, tucking it carefully into my suitcase. A villa in France? In this economy? It seems unnecessarily extravagant. He clears his throat. You always were impulsive with money. The laugh escapes before I can stop it. I've never made an impulsive purchase in my life. My retirement accounts are fully funded. My mortgage is ahead of schedule. I drive a 10-year-old car that's paid off. Dad, I appreciate your concern, but my finances are solid. Well, he pauses. Family should come first, Leona. My phone pings with an Instagram notification. Elliot's wife, Sarah, has posted photos of a shopping trip, the cart overflowing with Thanksgiving supplies. The caption reads, Annual Whitaker Family Gathering Prep. Blessed. Family Traditions. The pit in my stomach deepens. They're not just excluding me, they're replacing me. I have to go, Dad, I say, ending the call before he can respond. When my phone rings an hour later, I answer without checking, assuming it's another parental guilt trip. Hey, I've got terrible news. Talia's voice comes through, tight with stress. The grant committee moved up our deadline. There's no way I can make it to France. My best friend, my emotional support through a decade of family drama, won't be there. The weight of what I'm doing crashes over me like a wave. I understand, I say, though I don't, not really. After we hang up, I sit on the edge of my bed, suitcase open beside me. What am I doing? Am I throwing away my family forever over one Thanksgiving? The thought keeps me awake deep into the night, staring at the ceiling, wondering if this grand gesture will leave me more alone than I already am. Morning brings no clarity, just determination. If I'm doing this, I'm doing it right. I spend 3 hours online ordering additional decorations for the villa, autumn-colored throw pillows, rustic candle holders, locally sourced table linens. The confirmation emails pile up in my inbox, each one a commitment to my new path. My phone buzzes with a text from an unexpected source. Tom, Elliot's husband. I heard what happened. I've always seen how they treat you. Elliot and I aren't okay with it. Would you consider letting us join you instead? I read it 3 times, waiting for the punchline, the trap. It doesn't come. The night before my flight, my parents request a video call. I accept from my hotel room in Paris, where I've stopped for 2 nights before heading to Provence. My mother's face appears, perfectly made up despite the early hour in California. My father sits beside her, his mouth a thin line of disapproval. We're trying to understand why you're being so difficult about this, Mom says. It's just one Thanksgiving. It's never just one anything with us, Mom. Dad leans forward. You're being childish. Family should come first. Something inside me shifts, like a lock finally turning. I agree, I say. That's why I'm with people who treat me like family. What does that mean? Mom asks. It means Elliot and Tom are joining me in Provence. They're landing tomorrow. 2. The shock on their faces would be comical if it weren't so sad. Mom recovers first. Elliot would never. He already has. I interrupt. He's an adult capable of making his own choices. The conversation spirals from there. But something has changed. For the first time, I don't feel the need to defend myself, to make them understand. Their approval isn't my responsibility anymore. Aunt Carol arrives at the villa first, sweeping in with a shopping bag full of handwritten recipe cards. Your grandmother's corn pudding, she says, pulling one out, and her cranberry sauce. No holiday is complete without them. My cousins Mark and Jennifer coordinate rental cars and grocery shopping with military precision while doing our video calls. They will also come on Thanksgiving. We've got this, Mark assures me, his wife nodding beside him. I realize I've stopped checking my phone for messages from my parents. The constant ache of waiting for their approval has faded to background noise. The morning of Thanksgiving dawns crisp and clear. I wake early, spending hours in the kitchen preparing a table that honors both American tradition and French culture. Cranberry sauce in crystal bowls, fresh baguettes beside cornbread, wine from local vineyards chilling in silver buckets. I've rearranged the guest rooms, giving Elliot and Tom the one with the best view a small private victory. As the afternoon light floods the dining room, turning the wooden table golden, the doorbell rings. I stand alone in the perfectly prepared room, heart pounding, and walk toward whatever comes next. I answer the door with a flutter in my stomach, finding the rest of my family and friends together. Mark and Jennifer arrive, cousins who've barely spoken to my parents in years but who always send me birthday cards with handwritten notes. I've stocked Jennifer's favorite non-dairy creamer and Mark's preferred bourbon. Their appreciative glances at these small details make my chest warm in a way no corporate achievement ever has. My colleague Sophia exclaims over the travel neck pillow I've left on her bed, the exact one she'd mentioned wanting during our last business trip. How did you remember that? She asks. And I realize I've always been listening to others while waiting for someone to listen to me. When the rental car carrying Elliot and Tom finally crunches up the gravel driveway, I force myself to stand still rather than rush out. They approach with tentative steps, Tom carrying a bottle of wine, Elliot clutching a small gift bag like a shield. The room with the vineyard view. I tell them, leading them upstairs, I thought you might appreciate waking up to it. Elliot blinks rapidly, glancing at Tom. You gave us the best room? His voice carries the weight of our childhood, when the best was always reserved for him yet somehow never enough. Why wouldn't I? I ask simply. We're halfway through our welcome dinner when Elliot's phone rings. He glances at the screen, and the color drains from his face. It's Mom, he says, thumb hovering over the screen. You should answer, I say, surprising myself with how calm I feel. They're your parents too. Elliot puts the phone on speaker. Mom's voice fills the room, artificially bright. Elliot, honey, are you okay? We've been trying to reach everyone for hours. Your father is worried sick. I'm fine, Mom. We're all fine. Elliot's eyes meet mine across the table. We're having dinner at Leona's villa. With her? The venom in her voice makes several guests flinch. After everything we've done for you? This is how you repay us? Dad's voice cuts in. Son, this is ridiculous. You're making a huge mistake taking her side. After all the times we've helped you. That's exactly the problem, Elliot interrupts, his voice stronger than I've ever heard it. You've helped me so much that I never learned to stand on my own. You've given me everything except the chance to earn anything myself. Meanwhile, Leona has earned everything and gotten nothing from you. The silence that follows feels like a physical presence. We're coming to get you, Mom announces, her voice brittle. No, you're not. Elliot looks directly at me as he speaks. I'm exactly where I want to be. He ends the call and turns off his phone completely. The table sits in stunned silence until Tom reaches over and squeezes Elliot's hand. I'm sorry, Leona. Elliot says, his voice cracking. I've been enabling them for years. I never stood up for you. Later, as we prepare dessert, the group naturally divides tasks based on skills. Mark, who used to be a baker, takes charge of the tarte tatin. Jennifer, who worked as a sommelier, selects wine pairings. There's no jockeying for control, no hidden agenda, just cooperation. In the kitchen, Aunt Carol sidles up beside me. Remember when Leona won that national essay contest in 10th grade? She says to Elliot, who's arranging cheese. Your parents said they couldn't attend the ceremony because you had a soccer game. I didn't have a game, Elliot says slowly. I had practice. Regular practice. I know, Aunt Carol replies. I was the only family member there when she received her award. Elliot sets down the cheese knife, and I watch understanding settle into his features. My phone pings with a notification. Mom's texts have shifted from angry demands to confused questions. What's happening? Why is no one answering? Are you all okay? Another ping, my neighbor in Santa Barbara letting me know my mother called, claiming there was a family emergency. When Elliot asks if I think our parents will ever understand what they've done, I hesitate. Should I hold on to hope for eventual reconciliation, or accept that some relationships can't be healed, only respected from a distance? I don't have an answer yet. But looking around at these people who chose to be here, who chose me, I realize I already have something worth celebrating. On Thanksgiving Day, I wake and find an email arriving on my phone. The Provençal sun streams through gauzy curtains, painting golden stripes across the antique wooden floor. For a moment, I linger in the simple pleasure of morning in my villa before reaching for my phone. The sender's name makes my stomach clench. Mom. Emergency Thanksgiving change of plans, reads the subject line in all caps. I sit up against the headboard, my thumb hovering over the message. As they have already taken off, they will be in France soon. As the email loads, it confirms my doubts. It says, your father and I have booked flights to Paris. We'll rent a car and be there by dinner. We can't let this family split apart like this. Elliot needs to come home with us. We're willing to start fresh, Leona, but this is your last chance to be part of this family. My hands shake, but not from fear. Something unfamiliar ripples through me, a clarity I've never felt when dealing with my parents. I slide out of bed, pad downstairs to the kitchen where everyone has gathered for coffee. Aunt Carol notices my expression first. Honey, everything okay? Instead of hiding the message or making excuses as I would have before, I hold up my phone. My parents have booked flights to Paris. They'll be here by dinner. I pass my phone around, letting everyone read the email for themselves. The kitchen falls silent as each person absorbs the desperate words, the thinly veiled threats. What do you want to do? Tom asks, his hand finding Elliot's shoulder. 6 faces watch me, waiting. No one jumps to tell me what I should do or how I should feel. The power of choice sits squarely in my hands. I say slowly, this is our Thanksgiving. They had their chance. Elliot stands, squares his shoulders. I'll call them. This has gone on long enough. His voice carries none of the hesitation that used to appear whenever he went against our parents' wishes. They need to understand they can't hijack this gathering. Jennifer nods firmly. We're here for you, not them. If they show up uninvited, Mark adds, they can stay in town. There are lovely hotels. They've spent your whole life making you accommodate their needs, Aunt Carol says, stirring her coffee. You don't owe them that anymore. The knot in my chest loosens. This is what support feels like. Not the conditional approval I've chased for 3 decades, but people who stand beside you, even when the choice is difficult. Hours later, the villa transforms. The long wooden table I fell in love with online now stretches across the terrace, draped in a cream-colored tablecloth. Candles catch the late afternoon light, and platters of food, some traditionally American, others decidedly French, cover nearly every inch of surface. We gather around the table, this mismatched family of my choosing. Elliot and Tom sit across from me, their hands clasped on the tabletop. Aunt Carol takes the chair to my right, while Jennifer, Mark, and my coworker Daniel fill the remaining seats. No one sits at the head of the table. We form a circle of equals. The golden hour bathes us in warm light as I raise my glass. Before we eat, I'd like everyone to share something they're genuinely thankful for this year. Tom goes first, his voice steady but thick with emotion. I'm thankful for chosen family and the courage to create your own table. He looks directly at me. Some people spend their whole lives waiting for a seat they'll never get. You built something better. Aunt Carol clears her throat. I've watched you be sidelined for years, Leona. I regret my silence. I'm thankful you finally decided your worth wasn't determined by people who couldn't see it. When Elliot's turn comes, he stares into his wine glass for a long moment. I'm thankful for clarity, he says finally. I've been part of a family dynamic that hurt my sister for years. I didn't create it, but I benefited from it. I'm thankful for the chance to change that, starting today. Tears blur my vision, but unlike the tears I've shed over family dinners past, these don't burn. They feel like release. When everyone has spoken, I take a deep breath. I spent most of my life trying to earn my place at a table where the rules kept changing. I'm thankful I finally realized I could build my own. As it. We raise our glasses. The crystal catches the setting sun, throwing prisms across the white tablecloth. In this moment, I see with perfect clarity what I've created, not just a meal or a gathering, but genuine connection, the kind I've craved all my life. The unconditional belonging I chased through achievements and accommodations that were never enough. My phone vibrates against the table. I glance down at the notification. Flight AF1250 from JFK has landed at Charles de Gaulle Airport. They're here, in France, a 4-hour drive from where we sit. Will they respect the boundaries Elliot set during his call? Or will they show up anyway, expecting to be welcomed? Will they create a scene or retreat to lick their wounds? For the first time in my life, I realize I don't need to know the answer. Whatever happens next, I've already won. I turn my phone face down on the table and reach for the serving dish closest to me. Who wants turkey? The next day, as there were some delays with cars and other procedures, my parents arrived on Friday. The morning sun filters through the garden's olive trees, casting dappled shadows across our faces as we sip coffee from mismatched French pottery. Tom tells a story about his first attempt at croissants, and laughter ripples around our makeshift family circle. I notice Elliot watching me, something like wonder in his expression. For once, I'm not checking my phone or mentally rehearsing what to say when our parents inevitably call. This is nice, Elliot says simply, reaching for my hand across the table. The crunch of tires on gravel interrupts our moment. My coffee cup freezes halfway to my lips as a taxi appears at the end of the long driveway. 8 pairs of eyes turn to me. Questions unspoken. In the past, I would have jumped up, smoothed my clothes, and rushed to manage whatever crisis my parents brought with them. Instead, I set my cup down with deliberate calm and remained seated. They actually came, Aunt Carol murmurs, adjusting her glasses. Of course they did, I reply, surprised by the steadiness in my voice. They've never missed an opportunity to reclaim control. Take this, Feidi. As my parents emerge from the taxi, luggage in tow and faces tight with determination, something remarkable happens. Everyone at the table stands together, not rushing forward in welcome, but forming a unified presence beside me. Elliot moves to stand at my shoulder, his hand resting lightly on my chair. Leona, my mother calls, her voice carrying that familiar note of authority that once would have had me scrambling to attention. What a lovely little gathering. We came as soon as we could. My father begins directing the taxi driver about the luggage, already attempting to orchestrate the scene. We'll need these in the main bedroom, and be careful with that blue bag. I feel my chest tighten with the old anxiety, but it loosens when Aunt Carol squeezes my shoulder. This time is different. Mom, Dad, I say, standing slowly. We weren't expecting you. Well, we couldn't let our family be scattered for Thanksgiving, my mother says, moving toward the head of the table as if it were her rightful place. Now, What are today's plans? We should probably rearrange things to accommodate everyone properly. My father adds, I saw a market in the village that would have better bread than what you've got here. Elliot, help me make a list of what we need. The same situation I've experienced hundreds of times before my parents arriving and immediately rearranging everything to their liking, assuming control without question. But my response has changed. You're welcome to join us, I say, my voice gentle but firm. But this is already a complete gathering. We're not waiting to begin. We have plans for a hike to the lavender fields this morning, and everyone's looking forward to it. My mother blinks, momentarily speechless. My father turns from where he's been inspecting the garden, frowning. Tom quietly begins pouring 2 extra cups of coffee. Jennifer slides the bread basket closer to the empty chairs. Mark casually mentions the weather forecast, continuing our previous conversation. Their subtle actions form a protective barrier, not excluding my parents, but refusing to let them dominate. Most surprising of all is Elliot, who moves to stand beside me rather than gravitating toward our parents as he always has. Mom, Dad, he says, there's plenty of room at the table. We saved you seats. He gestures to 2 places near the middle, noticeably not at either end. My mother's expression shifts between confusion and calculation. My father looks as though he's considering whether to argue or acquiesce. I walk to the long wooden table that started this entire journey and straighten the place cards I created last night, each person's name in my careful calligraphy, including 2 I added for my parents, positioned between Aunt Carol and Jennifer. This will be an annual tradition, I announce, surprised by how right the words feel. Thanksgiving at the villa, for whoever wants to attend. Next year, we might do a progressive dinner with the neighbors I met yesterday. As I watch my parents decide whether to stay or go, I realize the table I've built has room for everyone, but only on equal terms. Is it better to maintain connections with difficult family members by setting firm boundaries? Or is there sometimes more peace in accepting that some relationships might need to end for new ones to flourish? Whatever they choose today, I finally understand that their decision doesn't define my worth. The table is set, and for the first time, I'm not waiting for permission to begin.